Mike 21F, Dad decided to abandon the family, sent the text in the family group chat, then came back. Posted on r/trueoffmychest. So yeah, yesterday sucked and I just need to type this out because I'm still in shock. The man who my two younger siblings, 17F, 13M, and I have called our dad for 10 years. Who adopted me and was working on adopting my siblings, packed a bag yesterday and had our mom drive him to the airport. He then sent a text telling us he was leaving. And I had to comfort my siblings over the phone because I'm on the opposite coast for work, and he sent that text before my mom was home. After being on the phone with my siblings for an hour, my mom got back and told us what happened. Basically, he said he was just tired of everything and that his job sucks and his life was so much easier when he was in his 30s, homeless in Hawaii, that he was going back there and he was done. I honestly lost track of how much time passed before my mom took the phone to talk privately that he texted saying he hadn't bought the ticket yet and that he really wants to, but the responsible side of his brain is telling him he shouldn't do this. And that he wanted to talk to her in person. She and I talked a lot about what she should say because we are just so lost about just everything. We agreed she did need to talk to him in person, unfortunately, because of some legal problems we were already thinking of: house, cars, business, etc. So yeah, she called me 4 hours later after they talked, and yeah, it sucks. He complained about everything in his life, that he was never happy, and that he hadn't been happy during these 10 years. And that it was all our fault. That my mom and I are too passive-aggressive in our concern over his back injury, and that by us doing that, we were making jabs about his age. That my mom isn't working enough, she got furloughed, but complained that she's looking for work cause then she will be too busy. And even more stuff that I honestly can't get into right now. But he came back with my mom and is now sleeping on the couch while she and I sort out the legal problems. I personally want to kick him to the curb when I get there, but her and I have been advised not to do that. So yeah, I called my work first thing this morning and took 2 weeks off and am flying home to help with all this tomorrow. Maybe I'll update when I get there and know more. Relevant comments. Commenter. When I was a teenager, my least favorite uncle had a midlife crisis, so he left his wife and children. He got contact lenses, shaved his beard and changed his hair color. Eventually he came and lived with our family for a bit, before reconciling with his wife, and they've been strong since. I'm sure there was marital counseling in there and probably a lot of other self-work. I don't know, I still don't like him. Your father is in crisis. Being in constant pain casts a deep shadow over life. It steals joy and makes every day a test of endurance. The thing about pain is that its whole purpose is to grab your attention. However, chronic pain is unhelpful. We feel what we focus on. With chronic pain you zoom in on the pain signals so much that they fill your entire viewport. There are pain psychology methods to learn to zoom out again, so that the pain is something you feel, like the feeling of socks on your feet, or your clothes on your shoulders, rather than something that overwhelms you. With effort, the chronic pain can fade into the background, especially in combination with stretches, exercise, physiotherapy and pharmaceuticals. If you won't go to a pain psychologist, there's a really good app called Curable. Its first, free lesson or two are really valuable and a really good starting point. Try to encourage your family to see this as a signal that something has to change. Help your mom insist that he starts getting help with his pain. Commenter. He's going through a crisis. I am glad you are going there to help. It sounds like he may be close to suicidal and needs support. I am not happy about the way he did this, and it sounds like he is feeling crappy and is lashing out at random things. He is your dad, so I hope you can have some compassion. It sounds like he needs professional help from a psychiatrist and a counselor. Please don't take any criticism he says personally or seriously. His brain is not functioning right. Do clean up all the legal stuff if he wants to separate and divorce. I hope you can go gentle on yourself, your mother, your siblings, and your dad. This is a very hard time. OP in response. I honestly think this too, but the problem is he refuses to get help, he won't go to therapy, won't talk to anyone about this, and it's eating him alive. He's not the same as he used to be, and it hurts so much to see him like this, but we are all at the point where we don't know what else to do. We have tried to sit with him and ask what we could do to help, and he always says it's nothing and that he just needs to deal with it. He had a crisis like this in November, where he didn't eat for 3 days and didn't talk to us for 2 weeks. He has it in his mind that Hawaii will fix everything, and it got to the point where my mom and siblings told him they would upend everything and move there if he thought that would actually help. He said no, and they stayed where they are now, but yeah, I'm really lost on what else I could do to help him. Update, 7 days later. So to quickly answer in depth to the questions in the comments and DMs from my last post. In one of my comments I mentioned how I'm really protective of my siblings and mom. A couple people reached out saying I should get some help with that. I do and have been since I was 11, going to therapy because of what we went through with our bio dad. I know it's not a healthy mindset, so I'm actively working on it, but I used to blame myself when they got hurt. I've actually gotten a lot better with this, but I think because our dad was the one who caused this, it was a trigger for me on a whole different level. I also saw a lot people thinking this was a mental crisis and to get him help for his back pain. So I calmed down and actually thought about it with a level head. I agreed as well and had honestly been thinking this on some level for a while. And for those asking about the back pain, thank you guys for some of those ideas. I asked my mom and he's done most of them, but there were a couple he hadn't tried yet. So I'm trying to get him to talk him to his doctor about them to see if it's worth it for him to try out. I also forgot to mention it in one of my comments. He has prescribed medicine to take for his back but refuses to take it unless it's really bad. My mom has set reminders on his phone, got the weekly pills cases to hold them so he could keep track. She'll also remind him when he ignores the reminders, which is one of the ways he said she's passive-aggressive. Medicine so far has been the only thing that has worked long-term, but he won't take them consistently. He'll talk to his doctor about the pain and they'll remind as well he needs to take the medication. So on to the actual update. On Friday I finally got my dad to talk to me and get some answers on what was going on, what he was thinking, and what he was feeling. He told me the same things he did with my mom when she went to talk to him. Which, because of what I learned, will go into more. One of the things he said but I didn't understand was that the main reason he didn't leave was because he didn't want to start all over again because of his age. And the way he said it was weird, like I can't put my finger on it, but it just was. So I asked if he did anything like this before or thought of doing it before. He finally admitted he did something during his first marriage. You know how I mentioned in the last post that he said he was happiest when he was homeless in Hawaii? Yeah, I got more context to that. When he was unhappy in that marriage, he let his business fail, stopped paying the mortgage and car payments, etc. And he told me he did it on purpose because he was so unhappy with his wife and was the main breadwinner so he could do it easily. The cars got repossessed and the house was foreclosed. HR told me he let himself go bankrupt and homeless because he was that mad at his first wife and was tired of the responsibilities. So he made himself go homeless and bankrupt to get rid of his responsibilities. And I honestly think I could have still fully this was still a mental crisis. But he sounded kinda proud when he told me this. So now I'm confused on if this really was a mental crisis or if this is just how he decides to deal with his emotions. I now understand why my older sisters, from his first marriage, says he abandoned them. He would never tell us why they would say that, and when I ask my sisters they would always tell me to ask him. So yeah, I'm continuing to help my mom and talking to lawyers/financial advisors. While this does show signs of mental health issues, he's done something like this more than 20 years ago and seems proud about it. So I'm honestly lost for words and even more confused than before. My mom is leaning towards divorce if he refuses her final request to go to therapy and couples counseling. I'm also planning on calling my sisters and hoping they talk to me about their side of things finally now that he finally told me. And hoping what they say will give more context. Relevant comments. Commenter. Sounds like he's just a horrible person. Commenter. Your mom cannot pin your and your siblings' safety and well-being on this man. Whether it's mental health or something else, her first duty is to get her children away from an mentally and emotionally unhealthy/abusive environment. Nothing else matters. After that, she can try and find solutions for him if she wants. But they forfeited the right to put themselves first the second they had kids.
Wired here. It really sounds like OP's dad needs to go get some therapy and learn some new coping methods. You can't always cut and run in life. Or you can, but I don't think that'll necessarily make you any happier. It's very odd how OP's dad looks back on his time being homeless with fond memories, but I think that was him just regaining some control back in his life, even temporarily. At the end of the day, he stopped being homeless. He made the active choice to stop being homeless, or he made changes that led to him no longer being homeless. And just because things are getting a little difficult doesn't mean you just cut and run always. There are other ways to cope and deal.